and let's start with the next chapter, that is communication for health education. So if you talk about communication for health education, I would like to give you a disclaimer first. I'm very thankful to the Marrow team and to all of you, but the point is that I'll be using the word Marrow application again and again. So with due respect to everyone, with due respect to students and the team in Marrow and the organizers in Marrow, I'll be using that Marrow as a tool to discuss IEC with you. So why did I say this? Because health education is what I'm doing right now, right? I'm trying to train you for the medical education, leave aside the health education. And I'm using a communication that is this platform. So what we are doing is, we need to study about how platform changes or how people may change and what are the contents of a good health education model. So if you look at the first topic, that is the communication process. I am a person, so I am there, it's me. I have built my content for you, and then there is a Marrow app or a channel, and there is you. So you are at the receiving end. In technical words, I am a sender. I have a message for you. I have a channel with me. And it is you who's receiving. It is the receiver. So if you are a doctor, you will be the sender. You'll have a message, you'll have a channel, and then there will be a receiver. You will do health communication. Why? Because the receiver may be getting some benefit from you. In terms of you make him aware about something, you make interest about something, you tell them something very interesting, or you do evaluation, or you may make some adaptive changes. You change the behavior of that person. So if it's me, I have a content using an application and we are talking to you using this model, using this mode, and there are various channels we can use. The channels could be like, we can use this online platform, we can use the video platform, we can use the online platform. We can also have interpersonal communication. So maybe you can talk to me one-on-one. Maybe we can use a mass media, for example, TV, radio, or things like this. Or we can, of course, this channel does not provide that. We can use a folk media. So anyways, many channels are there. Examples of channels I have just talked to you. So you have a sender, you have a message, you have a channel, and you have a receiver. And technically speaking, the receiver is supposed to give back a feedback to the sender. So they can give back to the feedback to the channel, to the sender. Anyways, that doesn't matter. But the point is, there should be a feedback mechanism. There should be a feedback mechanism. So this is what you get in your MCQs. This process is known as a communication process. You have a sender, message, channel, and a receiver. Next is, how many types of communication do we know? We know many types of communication, but primarily speaking, we know two types of communication. The communication could be a two-way communication, that I talk to you and you talk to me also. Right now you're not talking to me, but I am talking to you. That is known as a one-way communication. One-way communication is known as dictatorship communication. I speak, you don't speak. That I speak, you don't speak is known as a didactic communication. Didactic communication is known as a dictator. Don't confuse. Does not mean both way. Didactic, dictator, remember it this way. Didactic, dictator, remember it this way. Two-way communication is a Socratic communication. Two-way communication is a Socratic communication. These are just fancy words our textbook uses sometimes. We have a formal or a non-formal, verbal, visual, audio-visual. So what you are hearing from me right now, probably if you are looking at the screen also, it's audio-visual. Sometimes you'll just plug in your earphones and you'll not look at the screen. That's a audio. Or sometimes you'll mute me and you'll see the video only. That is a visual. So I can have a verbal communication with you. That's an audio communication. I can have a visual communication. I can have a audio-visual. What is a formal and a non-formal? Nothing very special. These are no-brainers. Formal means there is a guidelined way to talk. There is a guidelined way to talk. There is a structured way to talk. And non-formal is what is grapevine communication. We call it as a grapevine. Normally in houses, the females would do that. With due respect, they'll talk to their neighbors. Please don't tell this to the other one. And the neighbor will talk to the neighbors that don't tell this to the other one. So that's known as a grapevine. So everybody tells everyone, but everybody also tells that don't tell to everyone. That is a grapevine. Or we can have a gossip circle. Gossip circle is usually with the males. They'll be sitting around a banyan tree in a village and they'll be having a talk about the whole world. They'll even discuss the presidential elections in US while sitting in a small village with a population size of 500 under a banyan tree. So that is a gossip circle or a non-formal type of communications. Next could be, what are the barriers in communication? Under what situations you won't understand me? Under what situations you will not understand me? You remember, you were the receiver. I am the sender. Under what situations you will not understand me? One is, you will not understand me if there are physiological problems in you. You don't know how to hear, hearing problem, or I don't know how to speak, expression problem. So there is a hearing problem. There is a expression problem. There is a representation problem. What is a psychological? Psychological is, leave aside your thing. Psychological is the level of intelligence of the receiver is okay types. The level of intelligence is not so good, or there is emotional disturbances. You are so sad because of your breakup with your boyfriend, girlfriend. You're not able to hear to me. So you are thinking about those events only. This is a psychological barrier. Environmental barrier is, there is a lot of noise. Traffic is there, or whatever I am writing is not visible. So it should be a visible writing. As I have started increase in size. It could also be cultural factors. These are important from your MCQ exams now. Cultural factors could be like beliefs, understanding, language, customs, and concepts. Sometimes this is what I face in my class also. So in my live classes, I try to explain screening of disease. I try to explain biostats. And the student is just watching like this. That what on earth are you talking? Because they have their different concepts. They are not ready to imbibe those new concepts. Because whatever I tell in biostats or screening or epidemiology or health programs, that is a practical different way of discussion. So these are cultural factors where you have been brought up and born up in a different system, different beliefs, different understanding, language, customs, or concepts is what is barriers of communication. Next is, what could be the functions of communication? So I told you already, the various functions could be, we want to make you aware, or interest, or adaptive change in behavior, or health education. So what is information and what is education? This is what is personally, I like this words, difference between information and education. I'm personally talking to you right now. I like this word. Information is only giving you data. Most common cause of cancer is this, most common cause of HIV is this, most common cause of TB is this, most common cause is this, first common cause, second most common cause, end of the story. This is what PSM you already have been knowing it. We talk about data, we talk about facts. That is known as information. Education is not data facts. Education is concepts. It is to increase your knowledge. If I increase your knowledge by chance, if God willing I happen to increase your knowledge, there will be change in your attitude. And if your attitude changes, your behavior will change. Your behavior towards the whole system will change. So that is what is education. Education is to land up into a behavioral change or an attitude change. What do you mean by behavior or attitude? I actually don't know what all MCQs will come in the exam, but I can train you to solve any type of MCQ. That is actually an attitudinal change. You need to change the attitude to come out of this most common things, first most common, second most common, third most common, and the factual numbers. That is known as behavioral change or attitudinal change, and that is what is education. Education promotes knowledge. Remember this word. Education promotes knowledge. Education is promoting knowledge. Remember this. We should also discuss a little bit more about education or knowledge and propaganda. What do you mean by education and propaganda? Sometimes the examiners will trouble you using these words, education and propaganda. If you talk about education, education is knowledge. Just now we talked, na? Education is knowledge. But propaganda is instilled knowledge. Instilled knowledge. What do you mean by instilled knowledge? It means it's a passive gain. Education is you learn it and you imbibe it and automatically it comes within. Propaganda is instilled knowledge, a passive thing is given to you. What I mean to say, it is knowledge is actively acquired. It is actively acquired. Whereas instilled knowledge is passively acquired. Very soon you'll understand what I'm saying. Education will make you think. Education will make you think. Propaganda will stop you from thinking. Stop you from thinking. You don't think I give you the most common cause to, you're not bothered, to heck with it, that what was the reason for the most common cause. You're not bothered with that. You're bothered with what is the most common cause. That's all. So it stops you from thinking and education promotes you to think. Education, it increases it disciplines the primitive thinking and MCQ. This was your last year MCQ actually. MCQ now. Propaganda, it arouses, it promotes the primitive thinking. What do I mean by primitive thinking? Primitive thinking, that means it makes you emotionally charged. It makes you emotionally charged. It is giving you emotional charge and it gives you passive thoughts and it stops you from thinking that this is what is the truth. You take it and you are going to bang on the MCQ exam or you're bang on the earth. You are the best person. That is what is propaganda. And education, it disciplines your primitive thoughts. It basically helps you to judge before you act. Judge before you act. That is what is use of education. So basically education is, I think these are simple points. Education is self-control and self-motivation. And what is propaganda? Propaganda will promote you to be spoon-fed with passive knowledge. Remember this word, I am saying it again and again. It can be an MCQ with passive knowledge. In education, there will be a behavior change. That is what is the final thing. There will be a behavioral change. In propaganda, there is no behavior change. You will act for some time and then you will revert back to whatever attitude you had. So that is the difference between education and that is the difference between propaganda. Next is what is motivation and what is persuasion. See, motivation is making the power to act, to help you act within. You are too much under-motivated, I will never give the grand test. You are too much under-motivated, I will never study PSM. To motivate you is to make you act yourself. I am not giving you passive. So it is, motivation is power to act from within. Persuasion is influence. Persuasion is influence. So let's have two MCQs on what is motivation and what is persuasion. If you talk about motivation, motivation is helping you to act within. It is maybe calling as enlightenment. And the point to be noted is that this enlightenment or motivation is usually short term. So there are many books, there are many people who might motivate you. That motivation will not be your attitude change. It is not your behavior change. Persuasion is also not your behavior change. Don't think persuasion is behavior change, but persuasion is influence. It is also short term. It is also short term. It is conscious change in behavior. Conscious change in behavior in a desired manner. In a desired manner. Many, with due respect, many political parties, many influential people, many people in authority, many of your seniors, many of your guides, mentors, they might like to change your behavior or change somebody's behavior in a desired manner. So this desired manner is done only for a short time. It cannot be for lifelong. It is done only for short time. After that, people will tend to come back. There is change in your feelings. This was your MCQ. Persuasion will cause change in your feelings. It will cause change in your attitude and will cause change in your belief. It will not change your behavior for a long time. It will not change your customs or your culture. So this is what is a brainwash. That was what was your MCQ, that persuasion will cause permanent change or a temporary change. It's a temporary change in your feeling, attitude or belief, and it is a short time. It is just giving passive knowledge. That is what is brainwash, and that is what is, how do we do persuasion? By propaganda. How do we motivate people, or how do you educate? You give them content so that themselves enlightened. So that is what is persuasion or motivation. So what are the approaches to health education? How can you do health education? Government of India has tried almost all the approaches. Regulatory approach, where you use legal action and strength, government power of the government, legal action to endorse prevention of disease. We use service approach, where we give them free of cost service, general service, social service. We used health education approach, that is, you give them lot of banners, posters, health education everywhere. That everything caused propaganda. Are you getting it? I tell them that dengue mosquito, you stop water breeding. People will never do that. Why? Because they don't understand why on earth you are talking dengue and water breeding. Does it have any relation? You don't even know that. This all is propaganda. Giving them negative, like a passive information is propaganda. So health education approach can be used. Or what is the final, what we are using nowadays is primary healthcare approach. This has shown a lot of positive response. Let us talk about each of them. Regulatory approach we used, where we used in sterilization. I don't know if you know it, but you talk to your parents, grandparents, they will of course know it, that way back in 1976, Government of India made mandatory sterilization, and with due respect, like to any political party, there was a disastrous loss of the Congress government in 1977. So it has such a massive impact. So sterilization was launched in 1976, which was stopped immediately because that people consider that as a intrusion into their right of health. So that is a regulatory approach. But today we are having lot of acts like Child Marriage Act. So all these maternity acts, benefits, social security acts, all these are regulatory approach. Way back in somewhere in long time back in 1700 century, that time we had Sati system. So Sati system was also stopped by Raja Ram Mohan Roy and William Bentinck. And they had stopped this and put it under a regulatory system that in India in 19th century, Sati system was put into the legal system. So Raja Ram Mohan Roy and William Bentinck, William Bentinck was the governor of West Bengal at that time. So they put under the regulatory system about the Sati system. But you just need to know that if you use legal acts, that is known as a regulatory approach. Service approaches, we give free. You give free healthcare, you give free toilets, you give free sanitation, free water. People will never regard that. You give them anything for free, nothing is going to be taken by the people. We did that for toilets. So toilets, the program was not a very big success. Even in spite of the fact that we give them free toilets, but still very low uptake for toilets happened. People don't take that. Immunization we are still giving for free, and it's been so many 30-40 years we are not able to achieve 100% immunization. So many issues with service approach. So toilets is there, immunization we are giving free. Healthcare facilities, health treatments, we are giving free. So a lot of things happen. Midday meal scheme, you are giving free education and still people don't take education. Still only 74% of the Indian population is educated. Literacy rate in India is 74%. So what about the remaining 26%? They are illiterate. Health education approach. Health education is one of a good MCQ. Health education, I would like to ask, if you give me a chance, I'd like to ask you a question on health education approach. What do you mean by that? You start early. You start teaching people early, very early in childhood or in adolescence. You start teaching them, and they will imbibe that. This has been done by the developed country. So they start teaching them from early, and the onus of health is put on the individual. In many countries, like in India also, we take the health of the individual as state responsibility. Government will take care of the health of the people. So the health education approach tells you that the onus of the health will be on the individual. We will take care in case something happens, but your health has to be managed by you. That is what is health education. You tell them about passive. This includes propaganda. It includes mass media approach, and it includes many other things. And there is a slow behavior change also. There is a slow behavioral change also. So remember health education approach. Primary healthcare approach is what is being followed in many health programs. We follow this primary healthcare approach. Nothing very special. We have already discussed this in the chapter on healthcare systems in India. We are doing it for NRHM or NHM. So what is healthcare system approach? That is the healthcare of the population is the function of the healthcare of the population. What I mean to say is that there should be community involvement. You involve the community. Intersectoral coordination. You ask everybody to coordinate. Health ministry, fire ministry, environment ministry, social ministry, home affairs, everybody to coordinate together and everybody to uplift the health. That is community involvement, active involvement of the population. Active community involvement. That is what is primary healthcare approach, and it has shown a lot of benefits. And that's the reason in RKSK, Rashtriya Kishore Swasthya Karyakram, we have that Sathiya approach, peer-to-peer approach. In Anganwadi, we have the Sabla schemes, where the adolescent girls are making groups and they are doing it. Under PHC, CHC, you must have heard about RKS system, Rogi Kalyan Samitis or Balika, these things, Mahila Arogya Samitis. So they will get together and manage the community. That is primary healthcare approach. Next is models of health education. Like, what could be the structure? We are coming slowly to the content now. What could be the content of the health education or the model? Medical model is you tell them about the treatment, you tell them about early diagnosis, you tell them about NS1 antigen for dengue, you tell them about screening for mammography. Nobody will listen to you. That is known as a medical model, not at all useful. People don't listen. Next is motivation model. You tell them, you make them aware that HIV is spread by sexual contact, and sexual contact will cause RTI, STI, which people are getting right now. So they will be in that bent of mind to listen to you. Once you make them aware, they may get motivated. If they get motivated, they may take an action. And if they take an action, there is internalization. There is an attitude change. So once they get action, there is attitude. You tell people that don't smoke, nobody will stop smoking. Everybody will keep on smoking. You tell a person who's very obese, you tell him that you should go jogging every day. Do you think he will go jogging every day? He'll never listen to you. So you make them aware about the effects. That will motivate them, that may lead them to action, and that may lead to internalization. At the end of the day, you want internalization. There's a big headache problem with hypertension. You remember rule of House, only 50% comply to treatment because there is loss of internalization. That is a motivation model. Somehow, many diseases it works, many diseases it doesn't work. And next we have a social intervention model, that this is the best thing that we understand today. We know that what works in India, what works in any part of the world is social model. What do you mean by a social intervention model? It means that I will do a work only if my neighbor does a work. It means that I will do a work only if my neighbor does a work. Most of the things that you do, that I do, most of things which we do is only because our seniors have done it, only because our peers have done it. So that those things are authenticated or they are legitimated or approved by the other people, by others. You go on any mobile application which is getting the food delivery to homes. What do you see? On that food you see the star rating. You want to buy the book. Which book will you buy? Will you buy the book you like? Never you will buy that book. You will buy the book which is having the maximum star rating. That is known as social, and these people, they use these models. Social intervention model works. It tells you that you will do only the thing which is going to be done by others. That means if you vasectomize a person, if he is happy, then your whole village will get vasectomy done. Then your problem of the India is solved. So you have to make your happy clients. That is what is social intervention model. Nothing will change if the group is not changing. That is what is the modus, that nothing will change. Nothing will change till the group changes. So until and unless the people authenticate it, it's not going to change. That is known as social intervention model. So next is, based on the social intervention model, we can also cause a social change by giving them incentives. Of course, I'm not saying incentive model is only for the social models. Incentive model can work for any of the model. It can work for medical model, motivation model, or social intervention model. But if you talk about incentives, what do you mean by incentive? Incentive is you give a gift, right? Gift could be in terms of money, it could be in terms of goods or anything. So gift or incentive could be of two types. We can give to the patient, our clients, we can give them internalized incentive, or we call it as intrinsic incentives, or we can have extrinsic incentives, The intrinsic incentive is, let us say you vasectomize a person, you take out the gallbladder of a person, you do cholecystectomy, you do hysterectomy, you do IUL implantation, you do any surgery. The patient will get benefits. So happy patient. That patient is of course going to get benefited. That is known as intrinsic benefit. You do delivery. Obviously patient is very happy, child happy, you are happy, everything is happy. Intrinsic. The main outcome of that particular event is known as extrinsic incentive. If you talk about the extrinsic incentives could be financial incentives. We can have financial incentives. We can have psychological incentives, or we can have material incentives. Financial incentives example is JSY. We give them money, you come to us. Of course, they come to us, they will get a delivery, the female will get a delivery done in JSY. You remember JSY, Janani Suraksha Yojana. So in JSY, we give them money. If they don't come to us, they will go somewhere else. There also the baby will be born, the mother will be safe. Here also mother is safe, baby is born. The intrinsic benefit is same in both the cases. The extrinsic benefit is more with us. We give them money. Psychological benefit. In many areas, we are presenting awards to females who offer leadership, that for female empowerment, nutrition is there. So you give them awards. You make them leaders in the community. Asha workers, village health guide, they will be leaders. Psychological incentive. That is much more. Every Asha workers today proudly says that I am with Government of India. Although we are not giving them salary. These are incentive based workers. But they are very proud to be associated with government. That is psychological incentives. Then is material. You give them material. You'll give them food. You give them blankets. You give them. People go to school. Why? To study? No. The main thing was to get the supplementary food. In TB, we are giving free food. You give them food. So TB Poshan Yojana, if you recall, you come to the government, we'll give you food also, we'll give you treatment also. Intrinsic benefit is definitely there. Then we give you extrinsic benefit also. That is what is incentivization. So various models are there where we are using social models or motivation models, or we are using the medical models. Next is methods of health communication. That is, you can have different types of methods. We can have individual approach, group approach, or mass approach. Simple common questions. This is one of the most commonly asked questions. So this area is a 5-star area for your MCQ exams. You can have mass approach, group approach, individual. Individual is simple question. Individual is me and you talking. So it is interpersonal contact. It is by calling you on telephone talks. Of course, not in a group talks, right? It's an individual, telephone, one-to-one talk. Or it could be sending you letter. Or it could be visiting you. Or it could be interviewing you. So all these are methods of health communication, individual approach. What are the methods for group approach? If you talk about the group approach is like in groups. Group could be ranging from 4 people to 6 people. Minimum we say 4 to 6 people make one group, and maximum group should not be more than 25. Of course, it could be 100, 200, 1000, but 1000 is not a group. 1000 is a big crowd or a herd. So normally group range is 4 to 6 people to 25 people. Group approach could be of many types. Examples of group approach. So group approach could be, you can have group discussion. You can have group discussion where the discussion is among the group. Group number should be 6 to 12. 12 should be maximum, 6 should be minimum. Below 6 people don't talk. More than 12 people feel shy. So the group discussion should be around between 6 to 12. Next is, what is panel discussion? We can have a panel discussion. Panel discussion is between experts. So I am there, of course I'm not an expert, but let us assume that I am there as a panelist. My friend is there, my another friend is there. We are 4-5 people. We are talking on HIV. So you are there, let us say you are expert in HIV, you are expert in TB, you have learned the pathology TB, pharma TB, medicine TB, pediatric TB, PSM TB, so many TBs you have learned. So let us say you are expert in TB, you sit along with me, I'm from PSM TB, some gynae will sit and people will sit. So we are all experts. So experts will sit over there and they will discuss about a common topic. There is no structure, or there is no order. There is no structure or there is no order, but we will speak on a common topic in front of the audience, in front of somebody, right? You can't sit in a single room and talk in front of audience. So that is what is lacking right now. But anyways, in front of audience, we are doing it. That is known as a panel discussion. In the end, the audience will ask some questions and the panel is usually open for discussion. That's how the panel would be ending. So in panel discussion, you'll have a discussion amongst the speakers and with the audience. Audience asks them. So everybody interacts. Next is, what is a symposia? If you talk about symposium in plural, if you talk about symposium, it is lectures which are set in series. Lectures in series. There is a set pattern of the lecture series, and the lecture is in front of audience. Obviously. In the end, the lecture, the people may ask them. But in the point to be noted is that it is series of lecture by experts. And there is no discussion between the experts. So that is known as a symposia. Next is, what is a workshop? Workshop is nothing but hands-on training. Usually one workshop won't happen. Usually it's a series of meetings. And the group size is usually kept below 25. More than 25, it becomes very difficult to handle people. It is hands-on training, series of meetings. And in workshop, we will train them. It's usually attaining some skill. That's why we call it as a workshop. Next is, what is a seminar? All these are group discussions, right? Seminars could be ranging from 6 to 8 hours to maybe days, 4 days, 3 days seminar. It is usually on a topic or a theme is there for a seminar. Seminar can't happen like we are having a seminar on health. This is no seminar. Seminar has to be on a specified topic or a theme. So these are some of your questions which you may get on group communication. We can also have CMEs or conferences. So these are again on a topic or a theme. They may be publicly funded or they may be privately funding, but usually it is to enhance the education. It is to enhance the knowledge of the attendees. One more group approach that you need to remember is role plays. Role plays is considered as one of the best way of group discussions. Why do you think we say role play is one of the best? Because it gives you a sense of interaction and a sense of practical understanding also. It gives you a practical understanding plus interaction. In this, what we do is, from the group only, we ask some 2 people to come here. They involve socio-drama enactment. They will do some enactment. One will become Asha worker, I will become a villager. I will ask question to the Asha, Asha will answer me. Or I'll become the Asha, you become the worker, and you do the supervisory functions on me. Things like this. So these are practical situations, enactment, and usually considered one of the best ways of learning. That is role plays. After end of role play, usually the role play should be open for discussion so everyone can interact. And this is role play is a type of group discussion. This was your last year MCQ in AIMS exam. So with that, we cover almost all the topics on individual approach and group approach. Next we come over to is what are mass approaches. Mass approach is using the media. What media? You can use TV, you can use radio, we can use newspaper to spread the information about dengue. We can also use online media or social media. Next is we can use direct mailings to like n number of people. It goes as emails to x number of people. You send everybody postcards or flyers or things like this. Use of posters, use of museum exhibitions, and folk methods. Folk method means, if you understand Hindi, in Hindi we say folk methods is nukkad natak. They will do some 5-6 people will get together. They will do some enactment somewhere in a public place. So they'll perform maybe for HIV, for sexual abuse, for trafficking. So these are your mass approach methods. Next is some special methods of communication, that is Delphi and cafeteria. Delphi, MCQs direct. Delphi is a type of group approach, group discussion. It is basically done to solve a complex problem. So what happens in Delphi is we'll have a bigger group. That group is divided into subgroups. So that bigger group is divided into groups, subgroups. We'll give the problem to group A. The group A will look at the problem and they'll solve the problem. Then we'll give the question and the problem and the solution to group B. Then this goes to group C, then this goes to group D, then it circles back again. They can send it to anybody. Are you getting it? So anybody can send it to any group, and this group approach is going to give you after some time a very good perfect solution which is acceptable and practically implementable by all the sectors of the society. Usually Delphi technique we follow in government. We send our proposal to Home Affairs Ministry, send proposal to External Ministry, send proposal to Social Welfare Ministry, WCD Ministry. They'll send proposals back to us and we'll send. So there is a noting process. So Delphis are within the group, you do group discussions. It is to solve a complex problem. Cafeteria technique, it's a way of communication, and it is specifically used for family planning. It is specifically used for family planning, where the choice of the contraceptive is not dependent on the person, it will be dependent on the user or the client. So the family planning, the client chooses, the client will choose the contraceptive which is best good for them. That is known as cafeteria approach. Next topic is, what are the types of interviews? So in interviews, sometimes what happens is, I am sitting in front of somebody, I am getting interviewed by an interviewer. So there may be different types of interview sessions. So interviews is a way of communication where you want to extract some information from a person. So interviews could be of many types. You can have structured interviews. Obviously, common sense, there is predetermined structure. You can have unstructured interviews. There is extempore, there is no structure. There is extempore, just thought of questions and thought of answers. Or we can have a focused interviews. Focused interviews are usually to study MCQ now. Focused interviews are usually to study social and psychological effects of mass communication. So you have done a communication, you want to study how did that people respond, was this way good or not good. We started with the iron folic acid tablets, red color tablet and blue color tablets for women of reproductive age group and for adolescent girls. We wanted to study why are the adolescent girls not complying to the treatment, or why the ARSH program, Adolescent Reproductive Sexual Health program, is not functioning to its maximum efficiency and effectivity. So these type of studies or interviews techniques are known as focused interview, where you are focused to study the psychological and social effects of a communication. It studies what? That is what the MCQ is. It studies what? It studies your experience. It studies your attitudes. And it studies your emotional responses to the interventions, to specific interventions, very specific, to specific interventions. That is known as a focused interview. Repetitive interview, what is this repetitive interview? You again and again do repetitive interviews. Why would you repeat interviews? Repetitive interviews. Why would you repeat interviews? It is to note, simple answer, it is to note gradual change in people, in person or people over time. Over time, it is to note gradual change in person or the people over time. It measures same answers, social changes or psychological changes, or it may check for your behavioral changes. So we can check for any intervention, any changes, social intervention, social change, behavioral intervention, behavioral change, psychological intervention, psychological change. You can do repetitive interviews again and again. So these are your types of interviewing techniques or types of interviews. Let us come to the next topic, that is the techniques of interview. So interview technique is very simple. You can see in front of your screen, you can see the art of interviewing could be in these 10 broad categories. I don't need to explain that whenever a patient comes to you, you have to say hello, you contact them, you start the interview, you build a rapport. MCQ could be this point, you build a rapport. Building rapport is the most crucial part of the interview. Most crucial part. If you don't build a rapport, interview flop. If you build a rapport, interview good. So most crucial part is building a rapport. Rapport means you want to be in line with the interview. If the interviewer is at a different pace, you are at a different place, you will never be responding. The client will never open up to the interviewer. Next is recall. Recall means because you are asking about some previous time, so you should give time to recall. Probe questions, you ask them questions, encourage them to answer. Very nice, you're answering very nicely, very good, go ahead. Guide the interview so that they don't fall off the tracks. You need to guide the interview. Recording. This can be again an MCQ. Recording of the interview. Should it be done? Not done? Answer is it is very less done. How much is required? Only that much you do. Too much of recording of interview or putting a video recorder on and then talking to person, nobody will respond. Recording should be the least possible or the minimum number of recordings should be there. Then you close the interview and say about your report. That's all. This is the art of interviewing. 2 MCQs, which is the most crucial part, that is the rapport building, and what is the least part, that is recording. Next is, what is this gather? Gather means greet, ask, tell, help, educate, and review. Greet, ask, tell, help, educate, and review. This is the steps of interviewing. You say hello to person. You ask them how can I help? You tell them what you want to tell them. You help them and you educate them. This is the most crucial in the interview. So most crucial is to educate them and then you review it. So whenever we are meeting people, whenever we are meeting our clients or the health providers or the supervisors or anybody, we use a gather technique. Gather technique is, this is especially used in cases of family planning also. So again, these are interview techniques, and greet, ask, tell, help, educate, and review. Only MCQ is, which is the most crucial, and of course there is a certain steps. You have to ask before you greet. You have to ask only after you greet, and then there is tell, help, educate, and review. GATHER, gather. So these are your steps of interviews and the techniques of interviews. With that, we have finished almost everything in the chapter on health communication and health education.
Hi guys, please subscribe my channels.